You're listening to 94.4 FM, Salford City Radio. This is What's Happening Salford. Thank you for joining me on this Tuesday afternoon for our show. I've got another special guest on today. I say that at the beginning of every show, I know, but today I've got somebody very, very special on, so I'll explain that a little bit later on. So, did you have a good week? We got up to loads this weekend. I don't know, a few things that I told you about. One was the Spirit of Little Hulton Festival. So thank you to everybody there. We had a stall there from Salford City Radio. Loads of people came over to say hi and bought some CDs, and we had a competition for somebody to win a radio experience, and they were very excited when they won that. So looking forward to, and I think they might be coming on my show actually in a couple of weeks. So that's got to be decided yet, so that should be good fun. I met loads of really nice people. A lot of people from the Appeal Drama Group. They've got a production coming up in September that they asked me to mention, which is called The Noble Spaniard. I don't know that one. So it's and they've said to mention that at Christmas they do pantomime. It's a good time to do pantomime, that at Christmas, isn't it? And they actually run drama schools and groups, and they meet on a Monday. So they were plugging all their stuff, and it might be quite relevant to what we're going to talk about a little bit later, talking about their stuff as well. And then on Sunday, a couple of weeks ago, I had some guests on from Bounce Central in Swinton, and said we're going to do Bounce Fest, which was in aid of KidsCan, the children's cancer charity. And we had a great day there. There's a big stage up. And you know what? We had a little talent competition, Bouncers Got Talent, and some of the people who got up on that were amazing. And I've got to say hello to my new friend who actually came over to me afterwards. He won the singing competition, and then he said he was going to tune in today. He came over and told me he actually stars in Hollyoaks. So he's one of the kid actors from Hollyoaks, and he was really good fun. And then we got people getting up dancing and singing and all sorts. And then I think the highlight was we had a dad's eating competition, and I got roped into it. It was how many hot dogs you could eat in 3 minutes, and I cheated. I just threw the bread under the table and just ate the sausages, which is not a very nice thing to do, I know, when everyone else was having to eat the bread, but it was good fun. So that's what I got up to this weekend. I hope you had a good time. If you came over and said hi back. And this weekend, what I am doing, I'm going to be at the AJ Bell Stadium a lot this weekend. I'm working at a wedding, and then also, and this is where, if you've not been to see Salford for a while, they're doing really well, the rugby team. So why don't you get down there? They're playing on Sunday. They're actually pushing to get in the playoffs, and they need as much support as they can get. We've had the guys from Salford on my show a couple of months ago, and you know what? People say, oh, it's difficult to get to that AJ Bell Stadium. Well, everyone gets to the Trafford Centre, don't they? So why don't you, on Sunday, get the family and get down to the AJ Bell Stadium and cheer Salford on? Because I know they're playing a team who are below them. They're pushing for that top four, and they really, really do need your support. So it'd be great if people could go down and watch them. So we're going to play another record, and then when we come back, we're going to talk to my special guest, who's looking a little bit nervous. She's coming early, but we're going to talk about musical theatre and all things working towards getting a career in theatre, so that will be interesting. So, you're listening to 94.4 FM. This is Salford City Radio, and this is What's Happening Salford. So that's our new competition that's out there for funkypigeon.com, so make sure you enter that. You've got a chance to win that voucher. So as usual with the show, we always have a guest on, and today I thought we'd keep it in the family. I've got my daughter on today, and we're going to be talking everything musical theatre. So welcome to the show, Rebecca.
Hi.
Are you going to come a little bit closer to the microphone so we can hear you? And now the one thing, I think I put it on Facebook this morning, people have heard me mention your name a lot when I've been doing the show, because you're obviously very interested in doing musical theatre, aren't you?
Yes.
And that's what you want to do when you grow up. So we can have a little bit of banter, don't worry, you don't have to be nervous. I bet this is the most nerve-wracking thing you've done, this, isn't it, with your dad?
Probably.
But we're going to talk about all the things that you've been doing over the last couple of years as well. So now, at the moment, I know you're buzzing because you've like about a year ago, you joined a new group, didn't you? What were they called?
So I joined All Saints Musical Theatre Society.
Yeah, and they are very, very good, aren't they?
Yeah, brilliant group.
Yeah, they've got some very talented people. I know you kept coming home and going, they're all really good. But I thought it was quite cool that you took the step to go there, because you said you wanted to work with better people. Even if you was watching better people from behind on the stage, you're watching them do it, at least you're going to learn a lot, aren't you?
Yeah, that's the main reason that I wanted to move into a more adult group as well. And it worked, because I've learned a lot since I started going there.
Yeah, but let's. Do you know what? We don't have to hide anyone's light under a bushel, really, because that's not what this show's about. It's about. So you went to this group, and I think you expected just to be in the chorus. Or the first thing that you auditioned for, I came to see. That was the thing that was set in Vietnam, wasn't it? What was that called?
Yeah, that was a musical called Dogfight.
Which I'd not heard of that before, but it was really good, wasn't it?
Yes, brilliant show.
And you worked really hard in that show, didn't you? Moving a lot of furniture.
Moved a lot of chairs.
So you got a part in the chorus, didn't you?
Yeah.
And did you enjoy doing that?
Oh, I absolutely loved it, especially with the cast. The cast was so brilliant. So, like I said, you learn a lot just from watching people.
I think that watching that, it was such a step up from other stuff that I'd seen you do.
Yeah.
Because even though you're working very hard to do that, a lot of the people you ever work with, it's something they did as a hobby. And I think that the people you're working with at All Saints, the quality is as near to professional theatre than I've ever seen. So it's you're just nodding. No, on the radio, people can't see you. So if you just nod your head, no one can hear you nodding your head. It's when you were doing the rehearsals for that, and you go to a meeting, for want of a better phrase.
Yeah.
What happens when you go in? Is everyone really friendly, and you all just sing your hearts out?
Yeah. So it's like it's sort of like a mixture between what I was doing before, which was youth theatre, where it's all quite fun and it's quite playful. Whereas when you go there, it's really friendly, and it's a really good laugh. But then there's also a more professional rehearsal process to it, where you've got a director who's got ideas and wants to sort of work with the actors to sort of make these ideas happen.
Well, it makes it more of a professional production, doesn't it? So,
yeah.
So you did the dogfight thing with them. We should say that All Saints are based in Salford.
Yeah.
So it's and do rehearsals down in, is it near Earlham? I don't know.
Yeah, near Earlham, Eccles Way.
Earlham, Eccles, right down there. And it's I know that they're always open. They've got open auditions a lot of the time, haven't they? So if people are interested, you can go on their website and you can find out more about them. Anyway, so then they do this thing called Showcase, don't they, every year?
Yes.
You know where I'm going with this, don't you? So you're the newbie, the youngest in the group, and then they did the auditions for that. How did you do in those auditions, Becky?
Yeah, so I did all right.
So you were lucky, weren't you? You got one of the parts, so you did one of the main songs, didn't you?
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned this on the radio a few weeks ago. Is it at the Lowry?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that. What happens with that and the showcase and everything?
Yeah. So it's a brilliant day. So basically, a load of amateur dramatic groups in the Northwest come together and each do 15-minute sections from a musical. So All Saints were doing Heathers.
That was a film that in the 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it was a film, and then they turned it into a musical. And it's a brilliant show. So we did 15 minutes from Heathers, and I ended up singing the opening number.
It's been really modest here. It was like it was proud dad moment in a way where the curtains went back and you were just on the stage on your own with one spotlight on you, weren't you?
Yeah.
And you had to do
that was
diary thing. And then everyone came dancing around you.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't like that all the way through,
no.
but at least you had that little moment, didn't you?
Yeah.
And so how did that feel being like 2,000 people watching you do that?
Yeah, no, it was pretty mental. I've told you this before. On my wall, I have like a wall full of like sort of Broadway and
I've seen it in our house.
And I have a picture of the view from being stood on a stage and looking out into that audience, and I have that picture on my wall. So it was pretty insane when the curtain came up to sort of be stood on the stage and see that view in real life.
And did it live up to expectations for that little moment?
Oh yeah.
Did it?
That was one of the scariest but most exciting things I've ever done.
But I know, and then obviously then you've gone an audition for this third thing, and you've been really lucky. You've got a nice part in that as well, haven't you? The Into the Woods. So it's but with you keep telling me what a talented cast, but the more I see of the work that they do, it's great. So that's not until November, is it? Is that right?
Yeah. So it's the week of November the 25th.
And you started rehearsals yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, first rehearsal yesterday.
What was that like?
Oh, it was brilliant. The director's just got some incredible ideas for his vision for the show.
You're learning well. Say nice things about the director now, just in case he hears this.
No, it is. It's such a talented group of people. Everyone involved is just, you being the youngest again, you learn so much from the people around you.
Brilliant. So what we're going to do, we'll play another record, and then we should say that as with every week when I do this, there's always either a theme or a year. So all the music up to now is from 1 year. It's from we don't throw the show together. It's been thought about and everything. So we're going to play. This is Murder on the Dance Floor by Sophie Ellis-Bextor. She's been telling us all about All Saints Theatre. Is it musical theatre group or theatre group, or what do we call them?
Musical Theatre Society.
Oh, I got. All right, they're not a group, they're a society. There we go. It's do you know what? Dads can never get anything right, can they? So I just taxi you there to all the auditions.
That's your job.
I am going to get a new sign for the top of that car. It's taxi. So when did all this start in your head? Because I'm going to bring up a few things that you might have forgotten, because it's my job as a dad. But in your head, when did you decide I know you've always liked singing, but when did you decide, you know what, this is really what I want to do, and let's have a bash at it?
All right. When I decided it was what I wanted to do for a career, and it was something that I really thought I wanted to pursue, I think was probably when I did The Wiz in Year 9, and I played Dorothy in The Wiz. And I think that was the first time that I thought...
So you went for an audition, got another main part?
This was in high school.
Okay, that's okay.
And I think that's when I decided it was something that I really wanted to do professionally rather than just as a hobby.
Yeah. The Wiz was good.
It was all right.
It was good, but it wasn't as good as the other one that you did.
No.
Because you did the one where you had a blonde wig on. What was that called?
Legally Blonde.
Oh, there you go. There's a good
that was the last show that I did in high school.
And what school did you go to?
Harrotfold.
Yeah, I did know that. Sometimes we'll explain. I do ask questions I know the answer to sometimes, just to stop you nodding. So how encouraging were they? Because they did a lot of this kind of thing, didn't they?
Harrop was absolutely brilliant. The drama department at Harrop was awesome, and I was quite lucky in the fact that the drama department was made up mostly of me and my friends. We were sort of the drama kids at school, and then all the teachers in that department were just brilliant. And
who were your teachers there, if you want to say hello to them?
So it was Alex Burgess, Catherine Belmiga, and Gary Featherstone. They were my 3 drama teachers.
And you know the first names and everything?
I do, I know all the names now.
To me, it was all Sir and Miss when I was at school, and now you just call them whatever you want.
Well, I've left now.
Well, you've kept in touch with them, haven't you?
Yeah.
So they had quite a big influence on you, really, don't they?
Massive.
As a lot of teachers do. And then sort of within school, what other things did you get involved with that sort of might have encouraged you? Because you did some music things as well, didn't you? It wasn't just the musical theatre productions. Yeah,
we did a lot of music concerts, a lot of Christmas concerts, and then at the end of year 11, as part of our GCSE, we put on our own concerts. So we had to organise that ourselves.
And that was so everything you did, and you did used to do it. I always noticed with your friends, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you were like that big group, but it all seemed quite friendly.
Yeah, no, it was. It wasn't as like competitive as say it is now at college or now that I'm doing things outside of education. It was very much more of a fun thing. Yeah.
So when did you realise that you were doing this and you go, I'd like to do it? When did you realise that actually I'm quite good at this? I maybe could do this, because obviously people do blow a little smoke sometimes and tell you how great you are, and they always tell everybody how good they are. I mean, I work in entertainment, and you come across that a lot, and you end up taking it with a pinch of salt. But at some stage, you start listening and go, well, actually, enough people are telling me I'm good at this. So when did that happen?
So you don't know this, so...
Good, you're going to tell me something I don't know. Go on.
So, like you just said, there's a lot of people who like to sort of gas you up and you sort of take it with a pinch of salt. Whereas you're always very honest about, being realistic.
Honest dad?
Yeah. And there were 2 times. There was one when my drama teacher had told me that my music teacher had said that I had to pursue this, and it was something that I really should try and get into. And then the other was after I did Legally Blonde.
Right.
You told me, it was all right. Yeah, it was quite good. But then Mum told me later on that you'd said it was the best thing you'd seen me do, and it was the first time you thought you'd seen me do something and you'd thought, yeah, she can do this as a career.
Right, okay. I didn't know I had that much influence over you. Do you know what? It was the first time, I'll be honest with you, it was the first time I watched you and wasn't watching you.
Yeah.
You're watching a part, you're watching a person, because it's really difficult watching people, in anything. It's like if I watch people do magic, it's a bit weird. But it was the first time you came out, and maybe it was because you were a little bit more made up and you had the blonde wig and everything that went with it. But you from the beginning of that show, you carried it through with everybody else to make it something a bit special. And yeah, I did. Do you know what though? You did another thing at school, which I don't know if you'll remember. You were doing just a singing production, and I went to see it, and I didn't know what you're going to be singing or anything. And then you prepared a song just for me. You sang a Billy Joel song.
Oh yeah, I did.
And I thought that was quite cool. Right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to play another record as we do. It's from the same year that all the others have. And when we come back, there's something else that happened at Harropfold, and I'm going to ask you all about that, which is something to do with the television, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is Wherever You Will Go, the Salford. And today I've got my very, very special guest on, Rebecca Royle, who just happens to be my daughter, who she's talking all about things musical theatre and things she's been through to get her to a certain stage where she's going to start auditioning for drama school. When does that start?
Oh, that'll all start applying in September, and then auditions will be through October through to May.
Okay, but you're doing a lot of stuff to get you prepared for doing that, aren't you? So it's not like you're just going, I want to go to drama school.
I'll rock up.
Yeah, I'll rock up and see what happens. Yeah, that's what I did. Never got in. There you go. So when you were at school, there was quite an exciting thing happened, wasn't there, for Harropfold?
Yeah.
Which a lot of people know about, and but people might not realise how involved you were with this, or they might put 2 and 2 together in a minute. Was because there was a thing called Educating Greater Manchester, was it called?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they brought all the TV cameras in. So and when you got told they were going to do this, what did everyone think? Did they think it was just a bit mad? It
was, yeah. So the head teacher, Mr. Povey, he put a vote out to the students. Well, it wasn't really a vote. It was kind of a conversation.
We're doing this. What do you think? But we're still doing it.
No, he did say he wouldn't go through with it if there was like a large number of students all going, no, we don't want this. So he did a vote with the staff, and then he had a conversation with the students year by year in assemblies. And then, they decided that they were going to do it. But before this point, we'd already had producers come in and observe the school. So it was something that we sort of knew was a potential thing for the school.
Yeah, and they've done Educate in Yorkshire, haven't they? They've done a school in Leeds.
And then Educate in Essex.
Essex as well. So it's working their way up the country, weren't they? So it's, and so when you were doing that, because we'll come on to how you got quite heavily involved by the end of it.
Yeah.
Did they pick out kids and go, right, we're going to feature your stories? And did you know you were going to be featured in this thing, or?
So when you first sort of went, it was just a case of they'd done sort of, like I said, their observation. So they had ideas of who they wanted to film. But it really was quite fly on the wall everywhere. So there were cameras fixed onto walls.
No, they were literally all over the school.
All over the school. So they had like a little HQ where they could see all the cameras. So I think when the series was first being filmed, it was just a case of watching, and then they would focus on whoever was being interested.
So was there a like you say, was there a room with loads of TV screens and someone sat there and then they'd be watching everybody in school and then zooming in on them and seeing what's happening? So
we didn't actually see that until the next year, but then a picture was posted of this room.
And were you very aware of it, or did everyone forget that the cameras were there quite quickly?
Yeah, you were aware of it. So it was when we first went back to school, and you walked in, and suddenly there were these little white cameras all over the walls, everywhere. So when you first sort of walked in, it was a bit, you knew they were there because they'd never been there before. But I think after 2 weeks, because they filmed for a whole year, or near enough. So it's hard to sort of remember they're there the whole time.
Was it all these cameras on the walls, or did they have people walking around with cameras and other stuff as well?
They actually recorded a second series that isn't going to air the year after. But the first series...
I thought we weren't going to talk about that.
Oh. Well, I have to explain this. So the first series, there was never a handheld camera.
Okay.
It was all on the wall. But then the second time, they did have handheld cameers.
And they did more like interview type things as well with you. So this started up, and I know that there was. I remember the two young lads who.
Jack and Rani.
They featured on their friendship and things like that to start with, didn't they? So my impression of this was, to start with, you weren't, even though you've got a group of friends and people, they're following you around, you weren't particularly that involved at the start, were you? And then did you push yourself forward a bit, or did things just happen?
Yeah,
there was a big frown and a nod then.
Well, it was one of those things. I kept very sort of away from it. I wasn't, because I'm not particularly like naughty or anything like that, so I didn't ever expect.
Were they looking for the bad things in a way?
They were just looking for interesting stories,
right? Okay.
And at that time, me and my friends, we were just quite normal.
You say normal?
Well, our version of normal. But then I ended up going for head girl, and they ended up filming that whole process. Yeah,
because they did that on a big vote, and you had to give a speech to the rest of school and things like that, didn't they? And that became a focal point. And because quite a few people went for the head girl thing, didn't they? And the head boy thing, and they did that presidential thing where they had the behind the lecterns. And,
you had to do a speech.
Well, that ended up being the thing that sort of why people sort of remember you on the programme, isn't it, really? Because through you pushing yourself to the front. You did get head girl, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
And they made a big fuss of you, and that ended up being one of the featured programmes, didn't it? So, but I think everyone remembers why you got it. So if when people talk to me, that was a heavy sigh, by the way. That wasn't me. Oh, that was another one. There you go. She's off. So
I just know what you're going to talk about.
Well, they went round all the lecterns, and they said to each, what was the question? They said, describe yourself in three words, didn't they? So you had a little bit of time to think about it. It looked like, whereas everybody else was saying things like, I'm hardworking. And that's 3 words, but they didn't realise that. They did 3 things. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And it came round to you, and they did this. I thought it was quite funny the way they did it on the programme. It was like dramatic music, and it's come on. And you said,
"Are you going to make me say it?"
Of course, I'm going to make hashtag.
Oh, just like you.
There you go. So you said, "I'm just like you," and then they did this cutaway to all the teachers going, "Oh, that's brilliant! Oh, she said she's just like us. Oh," and that went like on the internet. The hashtag just like you thing went absolutely mad, didn't it?
I was trending on Twitter.
You did. You trended, and you were trending for about 3 minutes.
Yeah,
weren't you?
I was buzzing.
No, it was, and obviously again, proud mum and dad moment. You know what I mean? But it was good to see how you cope with that. And I know that when you were looking around colleges and things that we went, it was quite near that being aired.
Yeah.
And so did you get quite a lot of recognition off other people? Are you that girl off that programme?
Yeah, so it was weird. I remember I was looking at one college and someone asked me for a picture.
Really? Did they?
Someone asked me if they could have a picture with me, which was...
What about your autograph?
No.
Not your autograph, just...
But that was really weird.
I hope you said no or you charged them for it.
Of course I did. I said yeah. Well, I actually didn't. You made me. Don't pretend you didn't.
Well, of course you should. If that made them feel good,
Yeah.
and they can show the mates, that's all that's about, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
But I know there's been other times you've been to places where people don't quite place you, and they've said, "Do we know you from somewhere?" And you never tell them.
No, I don't like bringing it up.
Do you not?
No.
Is it something you've just put behind you, or I thought it was a buzz?
You know what? When it came out, it was a massive buzz, and it was really cool. Like, we had everyone. I say everyone. We had my group of friends came round to my house every week to watch the show.
That'll be our house.
Yeah, our house. Came round and we watched the show together every week.
That was brilliant, now you know. Because it wasn't obviously not just the one you were in. We watched every one, didn't we?
Yeah, we watched them all, everyone.
It became like a little party, and people brought food around every week.
Because it was cool as well, because you don't see everything that goes on in your school.
No.
So it was nice to sort of watch our school.
No, you was watching it, and there was a lot of times where I was watching the kids watching it, and there was a lot of, I didn't know that. And, have you seen that? So it was quite good. And can you still get that on the catch-up things?
I think someone's put it on YouTube, not legally, but it's all on YouTube now.
Is it? It's all on YouTube. I think you can probably get it. It was Channel 4, wasn't it, that did it?
Yeah.
Did it? And then, like you said, they came back the next year to, for the first time, do a continuation.
Yeah. And
for whatever reasons that we're not going to go into, that's not a little bit of news for anyone who's wondering. It's not going to get aired, that, is it?
No, it's not being put out.
So the stuff we saw, no, because we've seen some clips of that.
We were allowed to watch Series 2.
Yeah.
Because obviously we have to watch it and say, yeah, we're happy for that to go out, because I was in it.
But nobody else is going to see it. I think you're glad, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because you got a bit more featured in that, and I think you were quite pleased with it. We're not doing that now. So was it a totally positive experience? Because I know, especially in the second series, you used to come home and say, "Do you know what? I'm not as into this. It's not as much fun as it should be." Yeah.
So the first series was a lot of fun, but I don't know if that was just my experience, because I was never filmed sort of singularly. Like, there was never a time when they were just following me. It was, they were following the head girl and head boy debate. So it was very, for me, fly on the wall. I was just going about my day, and they were filming sort of what was going on. Whereas when they came back and did the second series, it seemed a little bit more like they had an agenda, that they had to get certain things out of you. And the production company and everyone, they were still all, like, lovely. There was no one who was, like, horrible. But the experience just felt a little bit more... You said it was a bit contrived, didn't you? Yeah, it was a little bit more forced. It's like at your prom. They were pulling you to one side in your prom, and you just wanted to have a party, didn't you? Yeah, well, I had to... So when you have to do what they called a pod interview, which is, like, where you see them, like, talking just to the camera and answering questions... I had to do one of those on the day of my prom. So I had to go and get my hair and makeup done. And then they made me come to my old high school, because that's where the interviewing pod was. And I had to go to high school in my full prom dress, hair and makeup, and do an interview before I went to prom. And the good news is, no one's ever going to see it. And it was all for nothing. It wasn't for nothing, but you're okay. Right, one more record, then we're going to finish up. We've got couple more records to go, actually. This is one of my favourite records, so you don't know this. This is all from the same year, and this is the Stereophonics. It's Handbags and Glad Rags. You're listening to 94.4 FM, Salford City Radio. Oh, I like that song. It's we're at What's Happening Salford. It's I first heard that song by Rod Stewart, not by the Stereophonics. But we're doing 1 year. So have you got the year yet? I don't know. I'm not going to say. I know Becky's got it. She's guessed it. And the reason I know is she's just given us a record to finish on. Said that's from the same year. I know this one. And so it's so I hope you're enjoying having a little chat with us today. Yeah, I'm loving it. I've got to say, this is the longest I've spoken to you in ages. Is that not fair? No, actually, do you know what? That is not true, is it? Because recently we did the Nightmare Journey from Hell. Oh, we did. And we won some tickets to go and see a show in London, didn't we? And, yeah. To go, and you'd always told me it was one of your favourite. In fact, somebody asked you outside, "What's your favourite musical?" And you said the show that we went to see. So that was quite cool. It was, and what's that called? It's called Waitress. I knew the answer to that because I went to see it.
Just wanted to so you can talk, and I just don't keep talking. What's Waitress about? People don't know it.
Yeah. Oh God, what is Waitress about? It's
about a waitress.
Yeah, it's about a waitress
who makes pies,
and that's pretty much it. No, it's about a woman who's in, not the greatest of relationships, and she's pregnant, and it's sort of about her coming to terms with the fact that she's going to have a child when she doesn't particularly want to have this child, and then she meets a doctor. And no spoilers, but
typical musical.
Yeah,
really.
Pretty much.
It wasn't really outside the box, was it?
But it's brilliant.
But it's got some really good songs in it.
Yeah.
I know there's one. I knew one of the songs because you sing it, don't you?
Yeah.
And if you go onto your YouTube channel,
oh God,
people can listen to you. And is your YouTube channel the Angst on Broadway one?
Yeah.
Is it? So if you look under you didn't know I was going to do this, did you?
No, I didn't.
You're always telling me, how do I get more Instagram followers and people watching me on the internet? So there you go. Let's have a go. So
still got 2 songs on it.
Angst on, yeah, but the 2 good ones. And very soon I'll have your thing from the showcase on it, won't you?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure when you get because I know that we're waiting to get a film of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I know loads of people have asked me about it. So your Instagram and your YouTube, I've got that right. Twitter.
No, Instagram. Twitter's its own thing.
Yeah, and you don't do Facebook because that's for old people.
Yes.
Like, see, I do listen when you say. So if people go on the internet and put Angst on Broadway, they'll find you for your Instagram, and there's, like I say, a couple of nice songs that you've done on there, haven't you? So,
yeah.
And then recently you did I mentioned Kids Scan a few times. I mentioned it before. You did an event for Kids Scan, didn't you? And you went singing there. And so you're getting into doing gigs now as well. Is that like doing a gig?
Yeah. It's different though. It's a lot. I didn't expect it to be that different from, because obviously I do a lot of performing on stage, but it is different to go and sing somewhere where, that's not why people are there, if that makes sense.
So you're sort of singing background in a way, but they still clap you, don't they?
Yeah.
So anyway, I've had fun. It's flown. It's absolutely flown. But unfortunately, we've got to finish here. And you've asked me to play one other record from this year. Mm-hmm. The year was
2002.
And the reason that's special,
it's because that's when I was born.
See what I did there? See what I did? I've done a full show with you on it and all the music's from the year you were born. There you go. That's how cheesy is that?
Just a little bit.
It's a dad thing, isn't it? So thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Don't forget Angst on Broadway. Go and give him a watch. See all the watches going up this afternoon. Listens and likes and whatever you do. We're going to play out with How You Remind Me from
Nickelback.
That place and its patrons have taken way more than I gave them. It's not easy to know I'm not anything like I used to be, although it's true I was never attention's sweet center. I still remember that girl. She's imperfect, but she tries. She is good, but she lies. She is hard on herself. She is broken and won't ask for help. She is messy, but she's kind. She is most of the time. She is all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. She is gone, but she used to be mine. And it's not what I asked for. Sometimes life just slips in through the back door and carves out a person and makes you believe it's all true. And now I've got you. You're not what I asked for. If I'm honest, I know I would give what she used to be.